This is part 3 to my Spider-Man cinematic universe. Before I begin, you're gonna have to pause this video and wait and see part 1 and 2 before seeing this. Now, they might be a wee bit long, but I'm a bit not that great at making videos. Well, I plan to make shorter videos from now on, but just go watch them. If you want to watch my Spider-Man cinematic universe, then you're gonna have to watch the first 2 parts to understand part 3. But anyway, I'm not gonna explain too much right now, so I'll start this now. So the first movie in part 3 will be the third Scarlet Spider movie with Ben Reilly, and of course I won't explain too much about it, but all that really is that I plan to have the Spider Slayers as the villains, and well, I also plan on introducing other clones such as Kane and a version of Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, who in the Ultimate Comics is a clone of Peter Parker, so I just decided to take that inspiration because in the main universe of Marvel Comics, she's mainly not really associated with Spider-Man too much, and is more of an Avenger. You know, basic Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver things that they're technically Avengers, but also X-Men. But anyway, there's not really much for this movie. Only this film will finally have Ben Reilly and Peter Parker meet, but Peter Parker gave up being Spider-Man after the death of Aunt May in the previous movie. And of course, I also plan on having Kane probably be killed off, maybe sacrifice himself to save Ben and Jessica, but basically that's really it. I'm not really too familiar with Kane, so I do think he's awesome, like his suit's cool, but other than that I don't really know much about him. And that's kind of it for the third and final Scarlet Spider movie. Then I got a Black Cat 3, just like the second movie. I've literally no idea about like, I have no idea about any idea for a Black Cat sequel or a third film, so I only had an idea for the first film, so yeah, that's all I really have. So, yeah, because I don't really know any good stories to make a Black Cat movie, but anyway, I'll just say that that's it. Anyway, next we have the third movie in part 3, which is going to be a brand new character who was recently introduced in a movie, which was, of course, Spider-Man 2099, aka Miguel O'Hara, who was Spider-Man of the distant future. In this movie, basically it'll be an origin story for Spider-Man 2099, and it will feature Madam Web, and we'll learn a bit about the multiverse / Spider-Verse. I won't really do much with the Spider-Verse, and I don't really know who would make a good villain, but I think maybe whoever is a good Spider-Man 2099 villain would work. And basically it'll have a post-credit scene where Spider-Man 2099 realizes Spider-Man needs his help in the past, so he time travels to go help him, because if not, then something will happen. I don't know. I don't really know what he would do, but basically if he's not there, then the universe will get messed up. And now on to the final 2 movies. Yeah, this part is quite short. I've been trying to make the videos a bit shorter, so I didn't explain much from part 1, like, unlike part 1 and 2 where I just explained everything as much as possible, this part I just decided to just explain the important parts. And now we get on to the final 2 movies of part 3, which is kind of like Marvel's Infinity Saga with what they did with their cinematic universe, only this time it's kind of different, because I wasn't really building up to anything. Well, now I kind of am, but with this universe, it hasn't really been obvious since the beginning, but I think maybe it could the part 1 to 3 could be called the Sinister Saga or the Symbiote Saga, because Sinister Six or the symbiotes, because I've recently introduced the symbiotes. But anyway, I'll get into it. The first part is going to be called Spider-Man Noir. Sorry, I meant to say Spider-Man No More, where Spider-Man has fully given up being Spider-Man, and yeah, he's no longer going to be Spider-Man, and he's now married to MJ, and they're gonna have a child soon. And also, Peter is now working as a scientist at the at his science laboratory known as Horizon Labs. And of course, Venom has then decided to return to New York after Spider-Man was, well, after Eddie Brock realized that Peter Parker's Spider-Man at the end of his movie, so he's decided to get revenge for everything Spider-Man and Peter Parker has done to him. And of course, he returns, and of course, this movie will also introduce another Spider-Man villain who is a dangerous criminal named Cletus Cassidy. If you're a fan of Spider-Man comics, you probably know who he is, and if you've watched Venom Let There Be Carnage, then you'll definitely know who he is. But I'll save that for until I get to part 2 of the 2-part finale. And anyway, so basically Venom will be the main villain, and he will go after Spider-Man for everything that Peter's done. Well, basically Peter had the symbiote, so he was kind of a meanie to Eddie, and well, and the symbiote didn't want to be rejected, and then the symbiote is making Eddie aggressive, so Peter wants to try and help him. So Peter tries to do everything he can to save Eddie, so he's forced to become Spider-Man again, because he'll, well, hurt the people he loves. And of course, Black Cat, Silver Sable, Spider-Woman, and the Scarlet Spider will all be there as well. Kind of like an Avengers movie, only it's more focused on Spider-Man. And Peter will make a brand new suit, kind of a mix between the classic suit from the Marvel Spider-Man video game, where it's just a variant of Spider-Man's classic suit, as well as the Stark Tech suit from Spider-Man Homecoming. I think that would work. And of course, I think this would be a good opportunity for Spider-Man to include the moving eyes, to include some expressions on his eyes. Because, well, I prefer Spider-Man suits where his eyes can move, and I still like other suits like Tobey and Andrew's, but I think Tom has some of the best suits in my opinion. So I think taking some inspiration from Tom Holland's Spider-Man costumes kinda would be some of my favorites. Of course, moving eyes would be quite hard, but I think this would be the best opportunity to introduce them to the universe. I just wanted that as a design choice, because, you know, Spider-Man has now gotten got some job as a scientist, and you might as well upgrade his Spider-Man equipment and make his eyes move. But anyway, that's just it. And of course, this movie will reveal Peter Parker's full origin story, because I skipped the origin story in this movie, well, in the first movie, in part 1, and I haven't really mentioned it as much, but it will be revealed that Cletus Cassidy is the criminal that killed Uncle Ben, and Peter is kind of feeling a bit scared around him, because he doesn't know what to do, that his uncle's that the person who killed his uncle is loose and out of jail. He's like running free on the streets, and of course Spider-Man is trying to stop him while also trying to stop Venom. Well, I mean, like, Cletus Cassidy is a normal human being, so Spider-Man would probably have no bother with him, only except for that Cletus also realizes he wants to bond with the Venom symbiote, because he believes that if he has Venom's powers, then he could become an unstoppable criminal that Spider-Man can stop him. And of course, Venom doesn't want to bond with him. But in the final battle, Spider-Man, along with his friends, will stop Venom and send him to jail. Like, Eddie and the symbiote would be in jail, and also Cletus Cassidy would be going with them. I'll find a way to make them, like, connect him somehow. And of course, but to before the ending, however, it's revealed the Venom symbiote has produced a new symbiote, which is the Carnage symbiote, and it bonds with Cletus Cassidy, and therefore it ends on a to be continued for the next movie. Which, of course, also I should have mentioned that Spider-Man 2099 is not in this movie, but he will be in the next movie, which is why I was thinking maybe I should put Spider-Man 2099's movie in between the two Spider-Man movies, but I think either or, it could be okay. But anyway, now for the final part, like the final movie in this part 3, which is also kind of like the end of this part of the Spider-Man universe, but also I will be continuing it, but I will be waiting a minute for now. But anyway, so the final movie is going to be called Spider-Man Let There Be Carnage, which basically named after Venom Let There Be Carnage, and of course it will feature Carnage as the main villain, who is, you know, has then learned about Spider-Man's secrets, and then is realizing that, well, because he bonds with the symbiote, he knows about a few things about Spider-Man, and, well, Venom also tries to team up with him, but then he realizes that Eddie then breaks through the symbiote because Eddie doesn't want to cause any bother. He just wants vengeance against Spider-Man. But Carnage's goals is just to, well, is just being a criminal. He just wants what's best for. He just wants what he wants himself, and he's gonna hurt innocent people. And Eddie doesn't want that. He just wants revenge on Peter. So, yeah, they're forced to team up, and of course Spider-Man 2099 meets up with them and tries to explain himself he's from the future. And of course, I think halfway through this movie, I think it could be worth that, maybe to show how dangerous of a threat Carnage is, two of the main characters could be seriously hurt or could be killed in the fight against Carnage. And I think those characters could be Silver Sable, because I don't really know what to do with her in this universe, and the Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly. And of course it would hurt Peter Parker the most, because Ben Reilly is kind of like his brother, like his twin brother. But of course they didn't really have much interaction throughout this universe. The most interaction they really got was throughout this universe. But anyway, well, universe, I mean part. Yeah, so yeah, the most interaction Peter and Ben really had was in part 3. But still, it doesn't really matter, because you know, this would make Peter feel responsible, and he would want to try and take care of Carnage himself. But of course, Carnage would still be too strong for him. And of course, Venom and Spider-Man have to team up, and Peter thinks he has an idea on how he could stop Carnage. Oh, meanwhile, Carnage also might try to kill MJ, because he just wants to ruin Spider-Man's life, and you know, stuff that if you go after Spider-Man's loved ones, then that's really gonna annoy Spider-Man. But Peter has an idea. He plans on using a machine of Doc Ock's to destroy the symbiote, but if Venom gets too close to it, then it'll destroy the Venom symbiote as well. So, yeah. And of course, you may be thinking this is kind of a weird idea, but it will make sense for the future plot. And of course, well, with a bit of teamwork, the heroes will manage to lead Carnage to the trap, and Carnage will almost be able to stop the good guys, but Spider-Man and Venom get in the way of Carnage, and Venom gets too close to the machine, so Spider-Man is forced to turn on the machine to destroy the symbiotes. Even though it will destroy the Venom symbiote. And of course, Eddie makes a sacrifice, giving up his power in order to stop the greater evil. And of course, both symbiotes are destroyed. The Venom and Carnage symbiote are gone forever. And also, so is Cletus Cassidy, because I couldn't be bothered to just find out how Spider-Man is going to save him. Spider-Man just had no choice but to get rid of him. And of course, Eddie's a good guy. He's redeemed himself throughout these 2 movies. Well, maybe 1 movie, because he was kind of a villain in this movie. I mean, the first movie. You know what I mean. And, well, they save the day. Spider-Man 2099 returns to his universe. Black Cat decides to have a normal life. Peter Parker decides to continue as Spider-Man and be a bit more of a family person, because he now has a baby girl who was also introduced in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the movie this year at the time of this video. And of course, is Mayday Parker. By the way, she'll become Spider-Girl at some point. And, I don't know, more stuff will happen. And Eddie will go on to, be a good person from now on, like helping people in need. And, well, that's it. Except for one thing. It's also revealed that a tiny, tiny piece of the Venom symbiote actually survived, and the government decided to take it in for testing. If you don't know what's going on here, I'm basically not done with the Venom symbiote, but only except for it won't play a big role like it did before, like it did in these movies. It'll just be kind of like a new thing, because... Well, I'll explain it in part 4, but I don't know when I'm gonna make part 4. But I know an idea for part 4, the main idea for part 4. But that's it, really. Oh yeah, and I think that's it, because Peter is going to have a good happy ending, because he saved his loved ones and is now Spider-Man again. He feels like he's better than ever, except for the fact that, well... the brother he barely knew he had, which I just know that Ben Reilly and Peter Parker are technically not brothers, because they're kind of like the same person, but they're clones of each other. But I like referring to them as brothers. I think if they had a brother-like relationship, it would be nice. And that's kind of nice, in my opinion. So that's what I really see. But only in this universe probably wouldn't really work for them to have a bond like brothers, because they barely knew each other for, well, Peter didn't even know he existed, but Ben kind of knew he was like kind of this one person. But I think at the time they reacted together, like how they were friends together, I think it could work. Like, I think a brother-like relationship could work if they do it right, like if the writers do it right. But yeah, and that's just how you write a Spider-Man cinematic universe. What do you think? Oh yeah, there's also a post-credit scene in this movie that teases that Doc Ock actually uploaded, decided that in case he ever died, that he would upload his consciousness into someone who would ever use his machine, and Peter used his machine. Therefore, Doc Ock has then taken control of Peter's body, meaning, well, if you know the Spider-Man comics, you probably know what this is, but if you don't know the Spider-Man comics and only know Spider-Man movies, and then I might as well tell you. I'm setting up the Superior Spider-Man story, because I thought it would be a nice idea. And of course, that's it. That's how you write a Spider-Man cinematic universe. And of course, I think Sony might, if Sony, if you're watching this video, then take some ideas from me, because I know things. I actually made a Spider-Man cinematic universe with Spider-Man. It's not over yet, but I think this could be like Avengers Infinity War and Endgame like idea, and Marvel continued afterwards, because, you know, they have Spider-Man to continue the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But, you know, so yeah. That's my Spider-Man Cinematic Universe. If you've watched all 3 of these videos, then comment down below what part was your favorite, because I think my favorite part was probably part 2. Well, I'm just saying this is what I've done, but I think I'm the most impressed with part 2. Mainly, like, the Spider-Man, the 6th Spider-Man movie, because I actually kind of enjoyed coming up with that idea. I kind of liked it. And, yeah. So that's how I would write a Spider-Man Cinematic Universe. But if you have any ideas, then, well, then if you don't like this cinematic universe, then I don't know what to say. Sorry. It's just that it's okay to have opinions. But of course, that's it for my Spider-Man Cinematic Universe. Let me know what you think of it, and subscribe, because I'll do part 4, because well, I will do a part 4, I will take a break from the cinematic universe and make a few different videos, and then I'll come back to it, but I don't know when, because there's a few ideas I could have to try out, because I haven't fully completed the ideas. Also, subscribe for more Marvel content, because I will be doing a load of Spider-Man ideas in the future, and yeah, that's it for the video now. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and also, if you're wondering if I will ever introduce Miles Morales into my Spider-Man Cinematic Universe, I'll give you a wee hint before I end the video today. He's coming very soon. Miles Morales will be coming to my Spider-Man Cinematic Universe quite soon. Well, as soon as I make another part, but that's it for the video. I'll see you all later, and if you like Spider-Man,